Hi everybody, I've just gotten back from the vets and I just dropped a kitten off who's going to be desexed today, but there's a little bit of a twist. He has a retained testicle and I thought what a great opportunity to have a chat to you about what that means. Now, over the years, I've heard people just go crazy over retained testicles, monorchid, cryptorchid, and acting like it's some sort of horrendous, big, terrible thing. That if you have a kitten born that has that problem, you need to desex its father because it's a genetic fault and it's going to be passed on for generation after generation after generation. No. There is no gene that's actually the one nut wonder gene. There's no gene that means that the cats have got a retained testicle. What it is, it's basically the makeup of the cat. It's the makeup of the cat. So when cats are born, their testicles are up inside and they come down when they reach a certain level of maturity and they fall into the pocket and then the scrotum. And then there's a ring that closes to stop them going back up into the body. If that ring closes too soon, the testicle can sit just above it. It can also be the case that the testicle is never triggered to come down in the first place. It can also be the case that it's somewhere between there and where it should be. And it's just the way it is in some cats. Some cats it's random. Some cats maybe it's because the tube is narrow, maybe because the ring is defective. There's so many different reasons for it. But it's not the end of the world when it happens. And it's not always going to be passed on. Yes, there could be the case that, say, for example, the tube is very narrow. A male cat could pass that narrow tube on to his kittens and they could also have a similar complication. But at the same time, it has to be that that testicle just doesn't get through that tube in time for that ring to close. So again, it just comes down to a lot of different factors. And there is no one gene for it, if you like. So over the years, I've heard people say that you have to, if it happens, it's a genetic fault. You have to get rid of all the cats that have got it. No, you don't. It's a show fault. In most cases, it's a show fault. There are some registering bodies around the world that do require a certificate to say that your cat's got two testicles. I think that I don't necessarily agree with that, but that if that's the association that you're with and that's your rules, you have to comply with that 100%. There must be some reasoning behind that. But generally, that cat is fine. So there's also talk about the fact that they can get cancer in that testicle that's retained if you don't go up and get it. Yes, they can, because it's in the body and it's kept warmer than the one that's in the pouch. So it's more likely to have some problems. But those problems don't normally kick in till, the cat's quite older. So most of us will have desexed our stud cats by then. And I want to tell you the story because I've had a lot of people, not a lot, I can think of a couple of people, not a lot, it's not a huge amount. I don't mean to make it sound like it's a big deal. I've had a few people tell me that they have had this circumstance and how they have felt like a level of shame attached to it and a level of like, it's something that people keep secret and it's like you've got to hide the fact that it happened because people are going to judge you because your cat had a retained testicle. Well, let me tell you my own personal experiences of that. I have had, in the whole time that I've been breeding over 20 years and I've had over 100 litters of kittens. And I think I can count 3, but I think maybe there might be 4 cases where I've had retained testicles. Today's case, there was another case where it was retained, but it did come down on its own. We just waited extra time, which we've done today. We waited till he's 14 weeks, still not down. And then I've had other ones where it has been right up there in there and we've had to go up and do the surgery to get it down. And the surgery itself is, sometimes it's non-invasive. Sometimes it's just like it's sitting above the ring. The vet can just hook it down and it gets done as part of the normal desexing. Sometimes they have to go up and find it. They'll do an ultrasound and see where it is and it could be anywhere along that path. Sometimes it's right up inside. Sometimes they have to open up and go looking for it. It's always there. It's just there somewhere. So it is a more invasive surgery often, but it's not a lot more invasive than a cat having a spay. So if we're okay with our female cats being spayed, we have to be okay with the fact that a retained testicle is that extra bit of surgery. The recovery time's pretty similar. It's not that much of a bigger deal compared to having a spay. It is a little bit of a bigger deal compared to a normal neutering, but not that much of a bigger deal compared to a spay. So I've had about, I think maybe 4 cases. But there was one that was particularly a special case because that cat went on to be one of my stud cats. I bred from that cat. I have kittens today that are related to that cat. He was one of my best ever cats. I wish that cat was still here. I loved that cat. And he had one nut. He was my one nut wonder. And we did go up and get it when he was 6 years old, just because, you know, that whole health thing about it getting too hot. And the vet said, you know, it's fine, and get another couple, you know, like we're talking about 10 years old before that's a problem. But we got it when he was 6, and then he was fully desexed when he was 8. So for about 2 years, he definitely had only one nut, because we went and got the other one. But he produced kittens, and those kittens and their kittens and their kittens, I've had no retained. I think today would be the first one that I've had since that time, and there's been a lot of kittens. And I'm not even sure that today's kitten was related to him. If it was related very distantly to him. It's quite a few generations forward. So it's not like keeping the boy with one testicle meant that every kitten I bred that was male had one testicle. It doesn't work like that. And if it did work like that, then you would say, okay, well, this is, you know, a thing. Maybe he has that small tube, maybe he has that early closing ring, and he's passing that on to his kittens. So I would then desex him and not breed from him, because it's, you know, you don't want to perpetuate that problem if you can't help it. But my boy just wasn't that boy. He just, for whatever reason, his ring closed early. He had it sitting up above it, and it was fine. He went on to have beautiful kittens. And I was talking to someone recently who had a retained testicle in a stud cat, and I've had a few people tell me about it in my new cat breeders club. Actually, I've had quite a few, like probably about 3 or 4, I think now. And I've told them all the story of my boy, my one nut wonder. And one of them was feeling particularly shamed by people, that people were having a bit of a go because they were going to continue to breed from a cat with one testicle. And it got to the point of almost bullying. And my answer was, if they're having a go at you, you just tell them to come and have a go at me too. Because I bred for about 6 years, 7 years from a boy who had one nut. And all of my cats that are doing well now came down from him. In fact, my current show cat, Herbert, who's been, you know, touring Australia to great success, which is kind of fun, is related to him. It's his father. It's his father. So if I can have, you know, if I can do that and no one has too much of a problem with me doing it, and if they do have a problem, they're obviously not telling me to my face, then I don't think that because people are newer or maybe they're not as confident, that people can attack them for the same thing. So if I can show Herbert, and Herbert can, you know, Herbert was a stud cat too. I have Herbert's great-grandchildren as well. So if I have these cats in my breeding line that come down from my one nut wonder, and no one has a problem with that with me, or if they do, they're not telling me, then I think it's okay for everybody else too. So have the confidence. If the boy is good enough and you want to breed from him and your association allows it, then yes, you won't be able to show him, but you will be able to show his sons and his daughters because they won't be affected by the problem. And you can go forward from there. So I definitely see it as a show fault, not a breeding fault. I'm very much don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If something's good, it's good, and you should just run with it. And, you know, if you have 2 choices and you have one that has a retained testicle and one that doesn't, definitely choose the one that doesn't. But sometimes you don't get those choices. So I'm just about, you know, have a think about things. Don't react too quickly, and work out what the best options are going to be. And if you do have a little boy that has a retained testicle, the surgery, it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. It'll all be good, I promise. And my little guy's going to be great, and I'll go pick him up this afternoon. Hope that was helpful for you.